Response video to a video titled Einstein's Cat, a thought experiment that proves time dilation is universal. So this was suggested as some sort of credible science that should be in peer-reviewed journals or something, that this is somehow real science or physics. And again, this is just nonsense, frankly. And so I'll make this illustration. I mean, this whole idea of what light clocks do isn't something that there should be any, again, between reasonable people, there really shouldn't be any disagreement. So we could do the experiment. We could model, okay, a light clock with a baseball. We could just throw a baseball, and we know, in gravity it's going to get knocked down a little bit, but, we can do different things to make it so whatever it's changing, you won't see it. Okay, so you're going to look for overhead, and you're just going to shoot a baseball with constant velocity. Let's just say a velocity, all right, and it's going to go across a field. All right, so you're looking down. The baseball is going to be shot across, and there's a target, okay, on the other side. And the simple argument is that if I place you, the observer, and I lock you to this walls, okay, and then I move the wall as the ball is traveling. So I launch the ball, but as the ball's traveling, the walls are moving this way, okay, and you're moving with the walls. The fact is, the baseball, that went dead straight, right? We know the baseball didn't take any other path. It went straight across. It was thrown. It's not a curveball. It's just thrown. It goes in a straight line straight across this field. So when nothing's moving, that's what you'll see looking overhead. You'll see a baseball just travel a straight line and hit the other side. And the simple argument is, right, if I put the illusion of a target, that if I move you and the walls, then you will see the baseball do this and miss the target. That's what you'll see, right? But it won't have anything to do with reality, because I'm moving, so I'm cheating. Okay, the ball didn't do anything different. If I could see the ball's path is just these little straight lines. This is nothing. It's going straight, and it's my motion. If I did my motion in little jerky motions, you could see that these jerky motions would be just the same as the motion that's making this line go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. And that's all that's happening. You're just translating this motion onto this straight line and bending it. But it is a straight line. The ball reaches the other side. If it's a 90-mile-an-hour ball, it's 90 miles an hour. It reaches the other side. And if it's an hour, let's just say let's say this is 10 meters, and it goes 10 meters in 1 second. Okay, and you travel 5 meters in 1 second this way, and you get this curved path. So that's all that's happening. So the baseball never changes. So there's no there's no idea that light in a light clock, if I was to make a light clock and then travel half the speed of light or something, the light isn't going to do this and then bounce off this and then bounce off this and then bounce. It's not going to do any of that. It's going in a hard straight line. And your perspective, because you're moving, you will have perverted it, and that's it. But it isn't perverted. The baseball and the photon doesn't travel a curved line. It travels a dead straight line. So I just don't, I don't see how it's reasonable to argue that somehow the curved line is the reality and the straight line is the falsehood, when what's bending the mirror in this case, what's creating the distortion, is your movement. It had nothing to do with the photon. The photon couldn't give a damn that these walls are moving. The baseball can't care less that these walls are moving. It's not going to change how the baseball functions at all. Just like two simultaneous events in space, the fact that you're closer to one of them can't change the fact that they were simultaneous. The fact that you didn't find out about it in the right amount of time, too late or too soon, doesn't change what actually took place. And I can't believe I have to make these arguments to adults. I mean, sorry to be insulting, but I shouldn't have to make these arguments to adults. It's just so obvious. The baseball does not change its path. It does not take longer to get to the other side. It does not travel a longer distance. None of that crap happens. All right, so leave us play the video. And again, that's the premise. So this is called good science. This fake premise that the photon travels a diagonal line and travels more distance when it didn't. And it's just a fact, it doesn't. Moving the surfaces does not make the photon travel more distance. It just doesn't happen. Okay, I'm being redundant. Yeah. It's just so bad. Alright. So it's...
Hi, I'm Val Rousseau from Xavier.
So it's Val Rousseau, I guess is his name. And such. Maybe a little more volume. I just don't know. Why is this title bar thing, this taskbar moving? You can't see it, but it's really annoying. Linux, little issues, just little ones. Works really well, but issues.
University of Louisiana. In this video, I'll share...
So I grew up in Louisiana, so I was actually going to LSU. It was a college I was accepted at. University of Louisiana. State University. So he's not at the State University.
A thought experiment I created called Einstein's cat, designed to clear up a common misconception about special relativity.
So it won't clear up anything. And relativity ought to just be it's just relativity, frankly. It's not special and general. This just complicates something that should be very simple, in the sense that the general theory is the theory. And we shouldn't bother with the specific special relativity or some notion of the fact that all motion is caused by the same thing, right? So I'll argue that when you move in gravity, every piece of you is being moved. Every atom is being pushed, literally, by the gravity. And that's why you don't feel it, because every piece of your flesh is moving exactly the same speed. So you can't feel the motion. But if you're in an elevator and something's pushing you, the fact is it's not moving all your atoms evenly. It's moving the ones on your feet first. And it's a big difference. So there is no equivalency.
The idea that time dilation only affects light-based clocks.
So it doesn't affect anything in the sense that it doesn't affect anything as a real concept that time changed and you have a clock that is measuring the time change. The only thing you can do is break clocks, and atomic style clocks or cesium clocks or any kind of clock that's dependent on it's not really decay. What's the word for it? All right, well, I'll come back to that subject just because, it's not... The fact is you can break any clock. Any measuring device can be broken. And the simple argument is that velocity breaks these nuclear style clocks. Atomic style clocks, put it that way.
To challenge that idea, I introduce a fictional device, the Cinco die clock. It consists of a
So the single something clock, okay.
laser, a mirror, a detector, and a mechanical stopwatch.
So none of that stuff makes any difference. The real argument is does the light travel something other than a dead straight line? And no, it doesn't. Okay. Does it move slower? Does it move more distance? It doesn't do any of those things.
When the stopwatch is started, it triggers a light pulse and starts counting to 30 seconds. If the light pulse returns to the detector when the stopwatch reaches 30 seconds...
So again, this is kind of, nonsensical in the sense that 30 seconds at the speed of light would mean you'd have to shoot this photon, around the world 3 times or something. I don't know, more than that, right? 30 seconds is huge. I mean, you have to go like 700 times around the world, or 7,000 or something. So, yeah, it's kind of silly.
Nothing happens. But if the two clocks disagree, even slightly, a poison mechanism is triggered, and poor Tiger, Einstein's cat, doesn't make it.
All right, so let's understand. Schrodinger's cat was invented merely for the purpose of showing how ludicrously silly quantum mechanics had become. So the whole point was to mock it and demonstrate that this is just idiotic. The cat can't be alive and dead. It's a silly idea. Why don't you all grow up and, get back to doing real science instead of this silly, abstract nonsense science? And again, I would argue that nothing can be entangled because the force of gravity de-entangles everything all the time. I mean, you can't escape it. So two electrons could never be entangled because gravity is interacting with them and outing them all the time.
From Einstein's point of view, who is at rest relative to the device, the light goes up and down in 30 seconds.
So again, so this shoot the laser, then you move the detector to where the laser was, all right? And yeah, so there's no motion involved here in so far. So he's not doing anything. So it's just going to go straight across, period.
The stopwatch also takes 30 seconds in that time, so everything is perfectly synchronized.
So yes, it does exactly what you would expect because nothing's moving. You're not moving this target. I mean, that's all this is about, right? They're making the argument that if I move the target, somehow I made the thing move. You don't miss the target. So I move the target, the arrow goes straight and misses the target. Yeah, of course it does. Because I moved the target.
The XOR logic gate sees no mismatch and the poison is not released. Tiger survives.
So this whole thing with the cat and the hammer, that's all a waste of time. Okay, you're just saying, do they match or do they not match? And the simple truth is they'll always match because you can't change the speed of light. Frankly, Einstein said so. Oh, this is just so idiotic to have to argue this crap. Photons can only be slowed down by interacting with matter, that is, pushing it. Can't be slowed down any other way.
But now imagine Schrödinger watching the same device move past him at constant speed.
Right, so this is just, again, the only thing moving is the surfaces. So the mirror's moving and the detector's moving. The photon can't have two momentums. The photon isn't going this way and it's going this way. It can't do that. So unlike a baseball, it can't travel with the surface. But the whole point is if you release the photon before the surface is moving and then move the surfaces, you know it has to go straight across, like my baseball example. Obviously, if I did the baseball example with the surfaces moving and I gave the baseball both 90 miles an hour this way and some tangential velocity in this direction, well, then miss the target in the other way. Yeah. It wouldn't miss it down. It would miss it forward. It would actually hit the target. If you gave it... yeah, it would. It would hit the target.
In his frame, the light follows a longer diagonal path.
All right, so it doesn't follow any such path. The light is in air. The air in between those two surfaces isn't going this way. The photon is in that air. It isn't going this way. The photon's going across. That's all it's doing. It's not moving this way. Nothing's going this way in between those two surfaces. So it's just a huge perversion of reality to imply that the photon has two momentums, that it has its speed of light movement this way, and somehow it has some other movement this way. It doesn't have any movement this way.
It takes 40 seconds to complete the round trip. Meanwhile, the stopwatch is programmed to send a killing signal at 30 seconds. So, from Schrödinger's perspective, the signal is sent before the light pulse returns, meaning the clocks appear out of sync and Tiger dies.
So all that's just so unnecessary. Yeah. Cartoon.
Here is the paradox. Einstein says Tiger survives. Schrödinger says he dies.
All right, so neither one of those statements are true. Okay, and again, what Einstein said, again, is easily debunked as it's not the truth. Okay, the light doesn't travel some other path, just as the simultaneous events are not corrupted by your position in space. You cannot change the reality by having a distorted perspective. You're the one with the bent mirror, so to speak. Your perception is the crooked thing, all right? And the accurate thing is understanding, oh, I'm being fooled, okay, because the surfaces and me and the target are all moving, and the thing that I'm through isn't. Yeah.
But both observers must agree on physical outcomes. So who's right?
So again, it's just silly that they must agree. No, the point is they must understand. You can't change what you see. The fact that you're going to see the baseball appear to curve is just a fact. You're going to see it that way. But it's not accurate. Okay? It's a flaw in your perception. And that's what you have neurons for inside your brain, is to recognize where you're being fooled. Okay, just like when things get little in the, when they're far away, like a mile away, and they're little tiny thing. They're not really little tiny things. Yeah, you can understand that they're not really small.
This contradiction is resolved when Schrödinger realizes his mistake.
All right, so there's just, again, Schrödinger and Einstein both developed the thought experiment. So Schrödinger was on Einstein's side, basically saying your quantum mechanics is spooky wooey action, and you ought to fix it. And so there's no conflict between Einstein and Schrödinger when it comes to entanglement and superpositions and all of that mush.
He assumed that time dilation only affects the light pulse, not the stopwatch.
It doesn't affect the light pulse. So again, I can't illustrate any simpler than with the baseball example. The baseball just going straight across. The air between the two surfaces isn't moving. The baseball isn't moving up and down. The baseball just went straight across at 90 miles an hour. It always hits the other side at exactly the same time. You can't change that. So there's no argument here that's reasonable.
But
there's no premise or axiom. I cannot accept your premise that the baseball actually curved, because it didn't. And that it actually took more time, because it didn't.
Relativity tells us that all clocks run slow when moving.
Right, so that's a simple argument to make, right? And who's moving faster, us or the satellite, right? And that's the trick of the whole thing. Everybody thinks the satellites are time dilated because they're going 20,000 miles an hour in space, shooting 20,000 miles an hour. No, it's us in the gravity, okay? We're the ones time dilated because we're doing this on the surface. And this is a very long line, right? If I drew this and calculated how long that line was, yeah, it'd be very, very long. See, and the satellite's in weaker gravity, so it's going like this. So it's not nearly as long a line. Fact. So yeah, we're technically going faster than the satellite.
They rely on light, gears, or chemical reactions. Once Schrödinger accounts for the time dilation of the stopwatch.
Alright, so there's just no time dilation of anything. There's just breaking your viewpoint. And that's it. Distorted viewpoints. There's just nothing else. Again, there's 3 dimensions. There's no room for a 4th dimension because the 3 dimensions have a rule. They all have to have right angles to each other. You can't make a 4th dimension. You can't. There's no such thing. And time is just a function.
He sees that it actually takes 40 seconds in his frame.
So he did it again. He sees. No, he doesn't. He'll never see it take 40 seconds, so you can just keep lying about that part. That part won't fool you. The baseball will not take 40 seconds to get to the other side, okay? The baseball will not go something other than 90 miles an hour. So even when you see it take the curved path, it will hit the other side at exactly the same time. So the greater distance won't have a damn thing to do anything because it never traveled the greater distance and it never actually took more time. So again, it's just such a false, phony, and fake premise.
For it to reach its internal 30-second mark. The stopwatch is running slow, just like the light clock. So the signal is sent exactly when the light pulse returns.
Alright, so this is assuming that a stopwatch, a mechanical, different kind of clock, is also affected by velocity the same way as an atomic clock or a light clock. Bullshit. Yeah, not even a chance that that's true. You won't change the stupid mechanical clock by moving it. It's not going to change anything.
And the poison is not released. Both observers now agree. Tiger lives.
So it's silly to say they agree, because all you're just saying is that, well, the stopwatch is somehow doing exactly what the light clock is doing, which is creating more time. And it can't create more time. So again, you can say it, but there's no evidence that it's true.
This thought experiment shows, in a tangible and even dramatic way, that time dilation applies to all physical processes.
So it really, how does it show that? It's just bizarre that he would extrapolate this silly cartoon into some statement that somehow he proved that biological objects change, their whole metabolism changes and it moves slower and their heart beats slower and their eyeballs blink less and all that crap happens. There's no evidence any of that crap happens.
Not just like clocks. It's a response to common misconceptions found in papers and online forums that claim otherwise.
So otherwise than what? Again, the baseball doesn't change its speed. The photon doesn't change its speed. The photon moves from one side to the other side, and it does it at the speed of light, and it doesn't do it at some other speed. So it's all just such bullshit.
Einstein's cat joins the long tradition of thought experiments used to teach relativity.
Right, so let's understand Schrödinger's cat was not used to teach relativity. It was used to mock entanglement and superposition.
From the twin paradox to Einstein's string. I hope this scenario helps students and educators see more clearly why time dilation.
So this is just a religious sermon, frankly. There's just absolutely no reason to believe anything is ever time dilated. No good reason to believe. It's the same time everywhere in the universe, you know. And see, these are simple things we can understand. We can look at a star and we can understand. Can't see it this way, but we can understand it. That the light we're looking at is billions of years old, and that the actual star isn't where we're seeing it. It's who knows where it is now. Could be all kinds of places, and it could have exploded, and we're just seeing a remnants, like a TV signal flying through space. You could go, way outside the solar system, and you could watch TV shows that were broadcast 50 years ago. You can understand that it's not live anymore. Yeah, I know.
Universal effect. Thank you for watching.
All right, so just terrible. So this was a written paper, okay, that people cite as being some kind of good physics, and I would argue it's good religion. It's not good science. All right. So do I need to illustrate it any further? I did the baseball example. The baseball example is a real world thing. You can understand. You could actually duplicate that. You could create it and create the 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and you could understand that if I move across that, it will look like it curved when it never curved. Just a fact. It didn't curve. Okay. Okay. So, till the next time and such, and so forth and what.